Oh, people, I apologize. I apologize profusely for the lateness of this stream. I know we said we would be live at 10:30. Our usual slot, as you know, is 10:30. We like to stream almost daily at 10:30. This week we didn't do daily. Obviously, I was in the Big Six last night. I think we took a night off on Wednesday. And we had stuff to do during the week. Basically, it was a busy week for all of us. A lot of content creation and planning a lot of things for the future. A lot of things to look forward to. Obviously, as you thought, as we expected, we were meant to have Jordan from City Extra join us tonight, but something came up for him. He was busy, and that's perfectly fine. I was held up in work as well, so it just didn't work out. We'll get Jordan on again, people. I promise you. We will get both Jordan and Lewis on again. They've both been on the channel before. They're both good friends of the channel, and you will see them again. So I do apologize that Jordan isn't with us tonight. You will see him again. But listen, you've still got us to see. You've still got us to chat to. Myself, Dara and Joe, the three usuals. We're going to chat a little bit about Brighton. It probably won't be the longest one because of the lateness of us. That is perfect. That's understandably our fault. And we'll do maybe a slightly longer one next week. And there's still stuff to look forward to. I'm going to Dortmund away next week. Maybe I'll get some stuff out there. I'll see some of the lads out there. I know Lewis and Jordan are both going to Dortmund, so I'll see them there. Maybe we'll get something. I don't know. We'll work something out. There's a lot to look forward to. Listen, there's 20 likes now already, or just over 20 likes. Keep hitting the like button if you haven't done so already. There's 20 people in the building as well. Let's see who we've got. All the usuals. Great to see all the usuals here. A1, Kerwin, Dano, Patrick, Holly, Darsh, G says big up Huey, D1, Millie, my good bro D1, big up my bro Hugh and all of the 1894 panel, Aways, Luke. Yeah, great to see all of you. Listen, how we all been feeling? Well, the three of us did the stream together. Obviously, I can't even remember what was the last stream I did in the channel. We did the Mbappe one, didn't we? We did the Mbappe one on Monday or Tuesday night. We talked about Mbappe coming to City. We all kind of agreed that wasn't going to happen. Kylian Mbappe is not coming to Manchester City. But listen, we may as well get straight into it. We've got Brighton at home tomorrow. We're just off the back of a defeat at Anfield, one that I got a bit emotional about. I think the people who watched the Big Six would have seen. I was a little bit, I wouldn't say rattled, but I was definitely frustrated because I was so confident going into that game, and then I thought we performed quite well. I don't think we actually performed badly, and then to come out of Anfield with a loss again, feeling so good going into it, I was a bit like, fuck's sake, man, this is so annoying. What does it take to get a win there? But now we have a great opportunity to redeem ourselves, get 3 points back on the board, get ourselves back into a rhythm, back into a flow. And listen, we have to also put some respect on Brighton's name. They're doing quite well. I think they're like 9th or 10th in the league right now. They're not a bad side at all. Obviously, just recently lost Graham Potter, but they're still doing well. They got a couple of wins recently. They're no pushovers, Brighton. You know what I mean? They play good football as well. But from our perspective, lads, it's just a matter of getting the 3 points back on the board again. I'd like to see a good performance. And there's obviously something to take into consideration, which is we don't usually play particularly well. It doesn't suit us to have a week off. How do we feel about the whole thing in general?
Yeah, it's considering we didn't have the game in midweek, I think it's very, and then coming off a loss as well, it could end up doing us very bad. To be honest, I think it could fuck with the momentum a little bit, but at the same time, I think they'll want it. They'll want it that little bit more now after they lost and dropped points.
It's the momentum for me, man. It's the momentum. I really wanted to play that Arsenal game midweek. Now, I get that Arsenal had their Europa League commitments, and because of the Queen's passing, they had to reshuffle the schedule and the fixtures and whatnot. But I really wanted to play this game, regardless of the fact that we had just lost to Liverpool. Taking the full context, we just lost to Liverpool. I still wanted to play Arsenal, even though they're probably, on paper, the last team you want to play against after you've just lost at Anfield and you need to get back into rhythm and flow. Is Arsenal right now, because they're absolutely motoring, aren't they? They're doing great. They're beating teams. They're playing great football. They're full of momentum. They're in the position that we would like to be in. But bear in mind, people, we get into that position when it really matters, towards the business end of the season. So, soon come. Wait for that. But I would like to have played Arsenal last night because, it would have been, first of all, a great opportunity to redeem ourselves, get ourselves back on in the winning books, in the winning seat, if you like. But also just to keep the players sharp. We seem to have an issue of, we know for years now watching City that when we don't play every 3-4 days, we seem to lose sharpness very, very quickly. Or is it even sharpness? Is it just flow and rhythm? Like, we're such a rhythmic team, we really perform based off rhythm, and we get into almost like an autopilot, and we just go game by game by game, and we win, which is what we seem to do in the business end of the season for so many years now. And we're kind of crossing our fingers and praying that we can do that again in the business end of the season. But it's not to be the case. We've had the week off. You could argue there's obviously the flip side of that coin, which is that the players get a rest. They've had time to process the Anfield loss. They've had time to process where it went wrong, how they played, who played well, who played badly. Pep's had a great chance to speak to them all and tell them what he thought, because obviously if a good few things went wrong in Anfield, I think we started off the game slow in Anfield. I know we did a little bit of a review, but we talked a lot about the Mbappe thing. But in Anfield, we started off the game slow. Liverpool came out like, horses straight off the gun, and they got straight into it. And then we built our way into the game. We got a bit of control. We had a few chances, and they finished stronger. So where did it go wrong is what Pep has to identify, because that doesn't seem to happen to us. Because in most games, we control the game for 90 minutes. We have all the ball. There was one point against Liverpool where we had 30% possession. 30% is completely unheard of for Manchester City or a Pep Guardiola side. And this was a sustained period. This was like 15, 20 minutes. I saw the statistic on screen. So why is that happening? You have to ask yourself, did the occasion get to us? Did the crowd get to us? Did the four red walls of Anfield get to us? That's completely up for debate. Did I underestimate Anfield going into the game? Probably. But listen, Joe, how do you feel about the whole week just gone by? Maybe Liverpool leading into the Arsenal game that didn't happen, and now leading into Brighton. Is this a position that you like being in? Is this a position that you think doesn't suit us?
I hate being in it. I hate coming off a loss and then looking and going, we've got no midweek game. I've got to sit on a loss for a week. I hate it. I hate it so much. I want to play as soon as possible after we lose. Because I know that, over the years at least anyway, that when we lose, one of two things happen. Either we look like it was a complete shock to the system in the next game, and we go out and we don't necessarily play well. We might win, but we don't necessarily play well. I remember last season we lost to Spurs, and then against Everton we scraped it. We got a win, but we weren't good. But on the other hand, when we went out to Real Madrid in the Champions League semi-final, our next game was, I think it was Newcastle or Watford. It was one of them two, or both of them back to back, and we pasted both of them. We went out and we absolutely hammered teams at the end of the season. Like, I think it's almost a perfect time to play Arsenal, because when this team loses, it's a scary thing, because they want to rectify that as soon as possible. They will go out, all guns blazing essentially for the next game. So it was almost a perfect time, and for as well as Arsenal have been doing results-wise, they have dropped off in terms of performance a little bit. They are scraping results themselves, which is it's fine to do.
They got very lucky in Leeds.
Yeah, it's fine to do. It's the sort of thing that, we praise ourselves for, Liverpool praised themselves for in years gone by, where you go, Champions performance, you don't play well, but you get the 3 points. But this almighty Arsenal side at the moment, their performances have dropped off a little bit. They're not playing well, but they are winning games. I would have loved to have played Arsenal, because I would have been so confident against Arsenal. Off the back of a loss, I don't think, especially against Liverpool, because we always seem to lose against them at the moment. Like, I would have been so confident on getting a result against Arsenal. It's a shame. It's a shame. And I do agree with the point of, we never play well at the start of the season, because that's normally when you have one game a week, which is why we start slow. We play so much better when there are so many games. It's basically like the other teams just can't compete with us. Like, I know that the rival managers usually can't compete with City, but they can't compete with us when it comes to that stage, because we just go and we win 14 games in a row when we're playing 2-3 times a week. Like, no other team really, apart from Liverpool in the last couple of years, have really been able to keep up with us when we do that. And even then, Liverpool have fallen short. So it's incredibly frustrating. And I do think it's not match sharpness. I do think it's rhythm. I mean, you saw Haaland at Anfield. I mean, he had that midweek break. Copenhagen away, he didn't play. And he missed a couple at Anfield, couple of headers where he just did the wrong thing. He basically just headed it back to Alisson a couple of times, which it's just frustrating. I do think it's a rhythm thing. Of course, Pep said he didn't play him against Copenhagen because he didn't necessarily recover too well after Southampton, but I don't think it helped too much. And I don't know how this game's going to go against Brighton. I do like Brighton. I like their new manager, De Zerbi. I think he's basically kept the Brighton of old at the moment, really. They play such good football, but they cannot stick the ball in the back of the net to save their lives. Like, they just can't do it for some reason. I mean, they got a 0-0 against Forest. I know they got that 3-3 at Anfield. But I think they might have only scored like another 1 or 2 goals since that game. And it's been another like 2, 3, maybe even 4 Premier League games since then. So they're playing really well, Brighton, as again, they did under Graham Potter, but it's still the same old Brighton. They still cannot stick the ball in the back of the net to save their lives at the moment. So I don't know how this one's going to go. I'd say I'm really confident. I still am confident to a certain degree, but you know, this is typical, really, isn't it? You look at a team like Brighton who cannot stick. They can't score goals. They can't take their chances. You know they're going to take one against us if they get it. Like, it's written in the stars for that to happen. So I'm still confident in this team. I believe we will bounce back. I don't think the week helps us, to be honest. But I mean, we just got to deal with it essentially. Like, we just got to move on. We got Dortmund coming up, which doesn't really matter. We're already through, so that one can be used just to build match sharpness. So, it should be all eyes on Brighton.
It would be just typical as well, wouldn't it? The team that can't put the ball in the back of the net in Brighton, if they just find their shooting boots in the Etihad tomorrow afternoon, wouldn't it? Just typical, Brighton are finally putting the ball in the back of the net. All that chance creation is starting to pay off for Brighton, and City have fallen further away from Arsenal. And listen, the thing with Arsenal is, yes, their performances have dropped off, but like you said, they are still getting the points. They're still winning the games. And I think, who's it says here? Dio Millie says, I can see Southampton getting a home draw against Arsenal this weekend. I mean, maybe, but Southampton are playing pretty appalling right now. It's one of those games that you would fancy Arsenal to play. And the thing is, being 4 points behind Arsenal right now, we can't afford to give them any more of a lead. Do you know what I mean? We can't afford. We're getting close to now a break in the season. I think we're about 3 weeks away from, or 3 or 4 weeks away from the World Cup, or at least when the players fuck off to join their countries for the World Cup. We can't afford to go into that break and give Arsenal a sense of comfort or a sense of we've really got a chance here. We need to be breathing on Arsenal's neck, or up on their tails, up their arses, whatever way you want to call it, or even above them if possible, come the end of the World Cup or come the restart of the Premier League after Christmas. We can't let them feel like, okay, we're 4 points clear, or we're 6 points clear, or something like that, and we're now into the home stretch. We're in the January to May period, whereby it's just everyone's going ham. We don't want to give them that sense of comfort. We want them to know that this isn't City having an off season. So tomorrow's game is absolutely imperative. We need to pick up the points. We need to win every single game now leading up to the World Cup. Unfortunately, we have a pretty decent few fixtures coming up before then. I was just looking at them earlier on, and they're all really, really winnable fixtures. And I would think that we should do. Starting with Brighton tomorrow, obviously Dortmund away on Tuesday. Then we've got Leicester away. Leicester are kind of picking up a bit of form right now, I believe, if I'm not wrong in saying that. Sevilla, then Fulham, Chelsea in the Carabao, then Brentford. So all those Premier League games you see there in Brighton, Leicester, Fulham and Brentford. Brighton, Leicester, Fulham, Brentford. They're all really winnable games, and it should set us up in a good position to motor on in the second half of the season. A real test of Arsenal will be, or at least a test of their ambitions will be, what kind of business they do in January. Do Arsenal kind of go back to their original objective for the season and say, we just want top four, we want to make that next step up the ladder and get ourselves into that category of clubs now where, we're a Champions League club? Or do they say, hold on a second, there's a real opportunity now for genuine greatness and to pull off a complete masterclass that no one foresaw? No one foresaw Arsenal being top of the league at the start of November. Let's be real, no one did. Everyone said they'd be right in the mix for top four, in around with Chelsea, United, and Spurs, but no one foresaw Arsenal being top of the league at this stage. No one foresees Arsenal being top of the league in March, but if they can get themselves to a position where they are top of the league in January after the World Cup, they'll say fuck it, or at least they could say fuck it. That's what I'm saying. Will they go for the original objective and say, no, I just want top four, we don't need to invest too much in January because the squad we have right now is doing so, we're well on track to get top four? Or do they go with the, fuck it, let's throw some more money, let's get some more depth in, and let's make a title charge here, let's make a fucking title charge? But from our perspective, we need to fucking kick into gear. I know we've only lost one game, and it's the first loss in all competitions all season, if you forget about the Community Shield for a second. But we can't let that upset us. We can't let that ruin our rhythm. We need to get back into a flow because that's when it works best for us. Let's see what the people are saying. We've got Fox Williams. Big up to the man then. Big up to you, Fox. D1 says Arsenal should be happy that we didn't have to play them midweek because they would have received the backlash. You're right, D1. I think they would have received the backlash. I think the fact that it was due to be 3 days after the Liverpool game would have been perfect in terms of timing. And also with the fact that we just lost to Liverpool, City were going to come out aggressive, or at least I'd expect City to come out really aggressive, really pissed off with the result in Anfield. I would like to think the players and the manager would say, you know what, we performed well and we didn't even get a point at Anfield. Now we need to go out and make a statement and take the piss out of someone and just make Arsenal the unfortunate receiver of that piss taking. On another note, D1 says, big up on getting 4,000 subscribers. Thank you all so much for subscribing to the channel, constantly showing love, always hitting the like button. All of our regulars, if you're new on the channel as well, make sure you're subscribed and make sure you've hit the like button. But listen, we've just hit 4K as of last night. I think it happened while I was on the Big Six show, so thank you to anybody who has helped us on that journey. We're absolutely buzzing. We're really enjoying getting to know so many of you in the chat on a daily and weekly basis. We're enjoying getting to meet new people all the time. And getting to see your thoughts on what's going on in the world of football these days, because it is interesting. It's all about opinions. It's all about conversation and debate. That's what makes this whole thing work. Next up, 5K. I'd love to hit 5K maybe by, I don't know, the new year, January, 5K by January. Let's see what happens. Keep showing love and hopefully we can hit that objective by then. Who knows? Barry McGowan says, we play better when we have more games. Don't like these breaks. That's the thing, man. It doesn't, we're very unique in that sense, is that we're a team that doesn't thrive off breaks. Most teams and most managers, we saw what Jurgen Klopp has been moaning for years about fixture congestion. He's like, there's too many games, we can't keep up with it. Whereas we're like, nah, give us the games. We want to play football. Give us Oxford in the FA Cup. We just want the game. We want 90 minutes. Dara O'Reilly, good to see you. Dara says Rory Gaffney is greater than Erling Haaland. Rebel, have you got any thoughts on that?
No, just leave that. I can't
Well
sing.
said, Rebel. Thanks very much for that.
I will get in trouble. We will get in trouble if I try to hum it. So, nah, he is.
AB says
It's very
5K
good.
pending. 5K is pending. I'd love to hit 5K soon. Then we're really starting to push towards that 10K. These are the goals, people, and you can make it happen for us. Join the community, get a part of it, show love. We love getting to meet all of you, no matter who you support. City fan, United fan, dare I say it, no matter who you support, get involved. We'd love to see what you have to say. Tarun says, you guys can't be worried about our tiny gap. Your team is set to win the league for the next 2 years. I don't know, Tarun. I mean, football's a crazy sport. Just when you think something is set in concrete and something's guaranteed, something else pops up and goes, holy fuck, I didn't see that coming. I mean, you look at Leicester win the league, and that is still slightly more extraordinary than Arsenal win the league will be this season. But that's football. Things happen. City could collapse and something can go horribly wrong. Obviously, I hope not. But that's always a possibility in football, where it just doesn't click, it just doesn't work. And next thing you know, it's April, early May, and Arsenal are still top of the league, and they're within a few games of winning it. So you just don't know. I'm not worried, because I fully back City to win, to thump Brighton tomorrow afternoon. I really do. My prediction, I'll give it to you towards the end of the stream, but my prediction is that we'll thump them. I really think we will. And we'll get back into flow. We'll win all our games up to the World Cup, and then we're into the serious end. That's when, like I said, the real test of Arsenal's minerals, what they're made of, what their intentions are, we will see after the World Cup. What way do they come back from the World Cup? That first game back from the World Cup, I don't know who they're playing, I don't know who we're playing, but it'll be a serious examination of where both of our clubs are at. And of course for the rest of the clubs as well, top four race. It'll be interesting to see who comes back. Injuries in the World Cup will play a massive part. So many twists and turns are going to happen this season, but you just have to back your club. I don't know, is there any Arsenal fans in the chat right now? If you're an Arsenal fan, let me know. Do you think you're real title contenders? Are you able to make a title charge? I'd love to know. From our stance, and I'm sure Revel and Joe feel the same, we still feel we're going to win this league. We have the bottle to grind it out. Dara says, do City have a sell-on clause for Bazunu amid Chelsea speculation? I think we've got a buyback clause.
The buyback clause. Basically, what I can see happening is, let's say if Chelsea turn around and pull the trigger on him, I can see Southampton straight away offer and be like, match that and he's yours.
Chelsea will match it though. Like whatever our buyback clause is, Chelsea will say, yeah, we'll pay it and maybe another 5 million more. That's the nature.
That's about 40 million though, surely. It's about that, wasn't it?
He's quality though, but Bazunu is
No, I know he's quality. I'm not trying to say it's not like you know how highly I rate him, but my God, like paying 40 mil again to your man Joe Shields. There's going to be a lot of Southampton to Chelsea thing now because Joe Shields has gone over there, but like 40 million for a keeper who's kept one clean sheet in 7 games sounds absolutely crazy.
Yeah, but he's playing with absolute muck in front
of him. No, I'm not trying. Just so we know, I'm not trying to put that down.
It's the same way you should look at the Copenhagen keeper. Guy got battered 5-0 in the Etihad and was still probably the best player on the pitch. He was absolutely phenomenal.
Look at the other way around for Aaron Ramsdale.
Oh, for fuck's sake, we're not going there. You just hate the man. You can't get past your blind hate for the man. I don't know what you have against him. Maybe it's because he got relegated.
Do you ever see him when like a P roller comes up and he goes...
Yeah, but he's keeping clean sheets and Arsenal. Listen, he's keeping clean sheets and Arsenal top of the league. Can't hate the man.
Joe, shut up with your sense, man. Shut up with the sense.
You just like him.
Luke says it's also annoying how we haven't scored in 2 games. I don't take that too seriously. The Copenhagen, we know what the story was there, the red card, and we were kind of saving ourselves for Liverpool.
We did score. Anthony Taylor, stupid Baldy, ruled it out.
Legitimate goal. Rodri Thunderbastard. Anthony Taylor, you should be absolutely executed.
Yeah, we actually scored 2 goals and they both got ruled out. Fucking hell, Mahrez missed a penalty. Oh dear.
Man City 3-0 win tomorrow, a brace for Haaland and one for De Bruyne. Dennis came to the stream a bit late, so sorry if you already explained, but is Jordan not coming on now? Jordan was meant to come on, we will get him on again. Something came up for him tonight. I was late coming back from work anyway, so the times just clashed. We will get Jordan on again, don't worry, we'll see him. He's a good friend of the channel. Benji, we need a skillful, explosive winger in January, like, I'm not even going to try.
Georgian Gazer.
Georgian bloke from Napoli.
Krishkar, isn't that what they call it? Like
I don't know.
It doesn't matter because it was never, ever going to happen. Because remind me of which club he plays for, and remind me of which club that we don't do business with.
City and Napoli do not get on. It doesn't happen.
That's
City
never going to happen.
Di Laurentiis is a dickhead. Di Laurentiis is a
We will
dickhead.
never sign him unless he leaves for someone else, and then we go and buy him. We are not buying him from Napoli because we refuse to do business with Napoli. I wish people had stopped going on like there's a chance we sign him.
People are still typing his name in the chat as if continuing to type it is going to improve my attempt at pronouncing it. I can't pronounce it, Dennis. I'm sorry, Benji, but I can't pronounce it.
Can I try?
Okay. Varatskilkia. Varaskelia.
Kvaratskhelia, you got it. Kvaratskhelia, you got it.
Kvaratskhelia. Can someone do the, what's it called again? Where you
Abbreviation? No.
Yeah, abbreviate it, please.
That's not what it is. That's not the word. Don't try to take me as gospel now.
Just call him a Georgian bloke.
Jay Mizzy, shout out to you, Huey, doing a cracking job in the Big Six. Tobes is salty, man. Toby had a rough time last weekend. Saeed gave him a bit of a cooking last night. We need Leeds away straight after the World Cup. Oh, we got Leeds away straight after the World Cup, says Diva Millie. Yeah, that's probably a good fixture at Leeds away. Mark, Arsenal fan here. Don't reckon we'll win it, but the future is looking bright. My advice to other Arsenal fans is to enjoy it till the wheels fall off. The thing with Arsenal fans is, it's not that I have an issue with them, because I actually quite like Arsenal as a club. And I like, obviously, Arteta, and I like Zinchenko and Jesus, but they're so quick to jump on the manager's back when things do fall off a little bit. Like, let's say for example, we do overtake Arsenal by a point and we go top of the league. I can see Arsenal fans being like, oh, this was always inevitable, this is not good enough. Whereas the reality is, you should be saying, you know what, we're doing quite fucking well here, let's keep supporting. And I'm not saying all Arsenal fans like that. There's just a subsection. There's a bit of a divide in the fans. Some of them are just too quickly to flip-flop and get on the club's back when it's a process, people. And I know in football we hate the word process because it just screams for impatience. But it is a process, and I think there's a good process going on at Arsenal. I think you're right. Who said that? Mark. I think you're right, man, that the future is looking bright for Arsenal. It just keep supporting your team, keep getting behind the boys, and you know, who knows what could happen. I think there's a bright future there for Arsenal. You're very young squad. You're playing well. You're winning games you didn't used to. Just keep at it, I reckon. But I still think our experience in these situations will get us over the line. Amari says, can't stand Ramsdale. Thinks he is a Cal the Dragon. Thinks he is Cal the Dragon. Ramsdale thinks he's Cal the Dragon.
I don't think anyone wishes they were Cal the Dragon. I don't think Cal the Dragon wishes he was Cal the Dragon. Not after that charity match.
Kvaratskhelia. Okay, Dennis, thank you. Okay, I get Kvaratskhelia. Kvaratskhelia.
Someone's going to come in about 5 minutes. No, someone's going to come in 5 minutes and tell you it's something completely different. I can see this.
Georgian fella and you'll type it like 4 different ways. You know.
Well, that's how you pronounce his name. Barry, we will see what Arsenal are made of when the pressure comes off. Pressure comes after the World Cup when the games come thick and fast. That's it, man. And that's it. And it all starts for us again with Brighton tomorrow. And you can see our predicted lineup on screen. I think it's up there right now, unless it's moving. Joe, is it still?
It's a still image. It is there.
There you go. You can see our predicted lineup, people. Let us know what you think of the lineup. We'll run through it a little bit. I think what Joe went for here, as always, Joe does the player ratings, Joe does the predicted lineups. If you ever disagree, I always say this, if you ever disagree with any of our player ratings, any of our lineups, fire at him. Send for him because he makes them. Not me and not there. He makes them. It's all on his back. Ederson, Cancelo, Ake, Diaz, Akanji. I think that's very straightforward. I saw a lot of hate for Akanji, people. Akanji. After the Liverpool game, I saw a lot of people saying, oh, Akanji, you gassed him up, especially me in the Big Six, because in fairness now, I left myself open for criticism here. But on the week leading up to the Liverpool game, I bigged up Akanji. I said, this guy, he doesn't miss tackles. I don't think did I say that? I think I did. I gassed him up massive. And then we lost Liverpool. And granted, Diogo Jota probably got the better of Akanji at times throughout that game. But there's no one can sit there and tell me that Akanji was abysmal or got made a fool of against Liverpool, because he simply didn't. He played quite well.
He did once. He got put on his ass by Darwin Núñez. That's embarrassing.
That is, well, yeah, but listen, that's football for you. These things happen. But you can't sit there for a second and say he was as bad as, say, Trent has been over the course of full 90 minutes. It wasn't a 90-minute stinker from Akanji. There was like one or two moments where you'd go, oh, he could have done better there, or that could have resulted in something bad. There's no way Akanji had a stinker performance against Liverpool. And bear in mind, people, we lost 1-0. We were not battered. It was a 1-0 in a game that we were well in for the most part. Liverpool got their one big chance, or they had two big chances, didn't they? Mo Salah missed one and he scored it, the second one. And they took it. We had a couple of relatively big chances. You pointed out the point-blank header miss from Haaland. I think if he's a bit sharper, he probably scores that. He headed it too high, first of all, and he went for across the goal, or he should have gone for more across the goal, is what I'm saying. And he also had a shot around the penalty spot, which he scuffed and he fell over as he was hitting it. Easy enough save for Alisson to get down quick. On another day, we score that, and the Foden goal stands, and the whole dynamic of the game has changed, and all of a sudden we're just holding on for the last 20 minutes to win the game. Like, we weren't battered. So to say that Akanji was made a fool of, or I gassed him up too much and I was wrong, it's incorrect and unfair. Because Akanji, I think for the most part, looked comfortable. He wasn't stressed out. He was up against probably his toughest opposition is up in terms of one-on-one he's had since he came to in Diogo Jota. Granted, like I said, Diogo Jota had one or two very good take-ons against Akanji, but for the most part, Akanji looked comfortable. So I want some respect put on Akanji's name. So in terms of putting him on right back this Sunday or on tomorrow, I have no issue with that. And just as a pointer for you people, as of, I think, today or yesterday, John Stones is back in training as well. We weren't expecting to see John Stones back at all before the World Cup, obviously, because we thought he was just going to save himself for the World Cup. And we had a bit of a rant about that just after the international break, didn't we? We spoke about Southgate putting pressure on our players to play, and our players submitting to that pressure and playing for him because they want to be at the World Cup. Anyway, John Stones is back. I assume John Stones, I get a funny vibe off this, lads. Maybe we can talk about it. I get a funny vibe off this John Stones return, is that he's rushing his return. I think John Stones is rushing himself back to training to get back playing as soon as possible to try and get 2 or 3 games under his belt. So he's definitely going to the World Cup. Think about these players, people, as individuals, as in terms of psychology, as human beings. They are thinking, they have these doubts. Oh, fuck, what if Southgate doesn't pick me because I haven't played enough football? Like, regardless of what we think as fans, if we think he's a nail on to go, there is obviously a part of his brain is saying, oh, fuck, what if he doesn't pick me because I haven't played enough? So he's thinking right now, I'll tell City I'm grand, let me get back training, I'll just cruise through a few games and I'll go off to Qatar, happy days. So I don't know, maybe Joe, what do you think? You kind of get what I'm saying? I think he's rushing himself back.
Well, I mean, we all know what's going to happen if he has rushed himself back. He's got hamstrings made of cheese. The man's going to injure himself again, and then he'll have no chance of going to Qatar. If the man's rushed himself back, I think he stands less chance of going if he rushes himself than if he just lets it happen. Just let himself recover. Because the man is a walking medical case. I've said this before. For how good he is and how great he is and how much we all love him, the man cannot stay fit for a season. Like, he's done it once, maybe twice. But he can't stay fit. Like, he's always got these little muscle injuries, specifically hamstring injuries. And, like, it's the same thing with Walker. Walker's got surgery and he's almost back. Like, what's that about? They're twerking for Southgate. We said this before. They are so hell-bent on going to this World Cup. They want to go to this World Cup that it's going to cost them. It's cost them their place in this team. It could cost them their place in the World Cup by rushing themselves back and getting injured. So I don't understand it. It's stupid. But I mean, if he feels fine, he feels fine. It's on him to make that decision.
The concern is then, when we do come back from the World Cup, what are we going to be left with? What are we going to be left with? In either, once again, injured Kyle Walker and John Stones, or a semi-fit, or both of them on one leg, basically come back to City going, yeah, I just wanted to play the World Cup. I'm a bit fucked now. I need a break. It doesn't look good for us. It spells out trouble for us. I would much rather John Stones was not back in training. I would much rather he took another 2 weeks doing absolutely nothing. Obviously, we're not the doctors. We don't actually know what physical condition he's in. We're just speculating, and it might be a bit cynical to speculate the way I am. But my hunch is, with the World Cup on the horizon, John Stones is obviously seeing the likes of Diogo Jota, Luis Diaz, and other players around the world picking up injuries and missing out in the World Cup. John Stones and Kyle Walker are clearly thinking, we need to do whatever the fuck we can, whether it's rush our return, whether it's fake fitness, just to get ourselves back into the World Cup squad. I don't know, but I get a hunch. People, and I hope I'm wrong. Dennis, Akanji centre back, Akanji full back. I'm confident with Akanji either way. Amari, any chance Sergio Gomez will be given a chance, or has Pep lost trust in him? The thing with Sergio Gomez is, people, as I explained straight after he got his red card against Copenhagen, he's raw. He's a raw young talent. He's only 21 years old. He plays right wing for Spain under 21s. He's got a lot of learning to do, both in terms of stylistically and in terms of just maturity, and that's something that'll come with age. So I don't think Pep's lost trust in him, but Pep has to nourish him the same way he nourishes all his young players. Just because he didn't go through the City Academy doesn't mean you treat him like you treat, say, Haaland coming in, someone you're willing to put a lot of pressure on, or have higher expectations of. You need to be a bit more selective of when you use Gomez and give him the right opportunities. And someone asked, Amari says here as well, when does Calvin Phillips return? Really looking forward to see him at City. I don't think we'll see Calvin Phillips at the World Cup. I don't think he'll go to the World Cup for England. He's just not played enough football, unfortunately. I don't know how fit he is. I don't know what his return date is. I don't know, is he training? I don't know much about Calvin Phillips' situation, but it spells out missing the World Cup. Unfortunately for him, he's still young enough, Calvin Phillips. He will get another 1 or 2 World Cups if he can continue his career at City, or at least begin his career at City. I'm in agreement with you, Amari. I was really looking forward to seeing Calvin Phillips. He's a player, when we first signed him, I was going, this is a great acquisition from City. This really is. It's going to provide great cover for a great player. He's someone I rate highly. Every time I've seen Calvin Phillips play for Leeds and England, I've generally been very impressed. When he's played against us for Leeds, I've generally been very impressed. So for him to come in and essentially have the first 5 months of his City career just tarnished because of injury, it's disappointing. And I hope it's not a taste of what's to come constantly with Calvin Phillips, because he could prove to be a great asset for us. But like with Sergio Gomez, when Calvin Phillips does return, Pep's going to have to nourish him. He's going to have to massage him into the squad, help him out, give him the right moments, and don't throw him in the deep end, because it wouldn't be right, and that's just the way it is. Do you think it's time to start looking for a new right back? Ooh, big question from A1. Big question, people. What are we saying? No.
I don't think
John
so.
Stones is there to play right back. Walker's there to play right back. Akanji can play right back.
Cancelo can play right back.
Cancelo, I was thinking, did I say Cancelo?
Oh, Lewis.
Rico Lewis is still there.
That's 5 people. Me and Joe, I don't know if me and Joe said this in the stream yet, but me and Joe have had this conversation that there was another centre-back brought in as one who could play right back, and 2, that means that John Stones will see more time at right back.
I said this when we signed Akanji. I said Stones is going to play right back.
Yeah. Is it like we have a right back?
We're in a weird position now. This is the first time where, obviously, varying levels of fitness and availability for how many minutes they can play, but this is the first time that we've had all 5 centre-halves fully fit and available to play this season. This is the first time that it's happened. We haven't had all these players available at the same time. This is going to be where you realise what the future of certain players are going to be. I think Stones, if you want to get to a situation, right, where we have 3 world-class centre-halves, Akanji, who's borderline at the moment with the way he's playing. With the way he's playing, it's borderline. And Ake, who is capable. If you want to play, I mean, you've got 5 there. If you want to play 3 of them, someone's going to have to play fullback. Like, if you want to get, let's say, Ruben Diaz, you want to get him, he's always in the team. You want to get John Stones, he's always in the team. Say you want to get Laporte because he's got a left foot on him. One of them's going to have to play fullback. John Stones, we've seen that he scored against Dortmund, he played at right back. Like, he can fill so many different roles within a team because he's solid enough defensively because he's a centre back. He's very, very, very comfortable on the ball. He's extremely comfortable on the ball. It's like almost in awe sometimes with some of the shit that he does. He loves to move forward with the ball. The amount of times you see him run forward into a number 10 position, it's unreal. Like, it's so fun to watch. Obviously, he lacks, like, you'd say what a typical modern fullback has in a cross. We don't really see him cross the ball ever, but that doesn't really matter to me that much. I think John Stones is perfectly capable of playing as a right back. I think he's quick enough, he's strong enough, he's got enough about him defensively, he's got enough about him going forward to be able to contribute, and it allows you to essentially have all three of those world-class centre-halves on the pitch at the same time. I don't think we need a new right back. I think we've got more than enough there. Pep seems to really like Rico Lewis at the moment as well. He thinks that he seems to have a big future ahead of him, so I don't think so, no. I don't think it's a right back. And if all else fails, Cancelo just goes back over to there, where you'd say he's more natural, and then you just go and sign a left back, go back to the age-old, where on earth are we going to pull out a left back from?
There you go. There you go. No new right back from Joe anyway. D1 says there were some talks before that Pep was keeping an eye on Tariq Lamptey. I don't see that happening for some reason.
I know Lamptey
is very injury prone.
He's very injury prone.
I mean, why would you bring in another very injury prone player? And he's also very young as well. I don't know. I'd give Lamptey another 3 or 4 years before of playing consistently and playing consistently well before you start talking about him maybe playing for City. Laporte is our best centre back. He has to start regardless. Laporte was definitely our best centre half last season. I think it's time we all agreed that Laporte was our best centre half last season. I don't know. With John Stones coming back from injury now, yeah, we obviously have all of our centre halves fully fit for a change. But I think the back four that Joe's gone with for this Brighton game is probably the right one. And let those four play again. Let them rectify the mistakes they made against Liverpool last Sunday. Just let the whole team. In midfield, we've gone with Rodri, De Bruyne, and Bernardo. I think Bernardo, I was not disappointed with against Liverpool because I thought his application was fantastic. I thought he was really up for it, and that's what you want to see. But he lost his head. But Bernardo Silva completely lost his head in the last 10 and 15 minutes when you'd really want him the most. I think he got carried away with the fiasco on the sideline and the noise in the stands, and I'm sure you can imagine the abuse he was getting. The Liverpool fans particularly hate Bernardo Silva. He's probably the player in our squad that they hate the most, and they have done over the years. Bernardo Silva they do not like at all. So you can imagine the abuse this guy was probably getting from the stands, based on what we've been told was said in the stands was pretty toxic on the weekend anyway. He lost his head, but still I would 100% give him the jersey for tomorrow's game against Brighton. I think we need to go out tomorrow just with blistering pace, blistering energy. I'd like to see us blow them off the park. I'd like to see 3, 4, 5 goals. That's what obviously we're dreaming of, and that's what the reaction we want following the Liverpool game. Is that a reality? I think in some shape or form it is, but we also kind of have to brace ourselves for a potential slogfest because, like I said, we haven't played in a week. The team might feel under extra pressure to perform because of last week's result, and that might hinder them a little bit. I don't know. There's a lot of narratives, a lot of ways to look at it, but I think just getting the 3 points and moving on to the Dortmund game, having the Dortmund game midweek is actually perfect. The Dortmund game that doesn't really matter at toss. We've qualified already. Now it's just a matter of whether we want to fight for top spot. But it's perfect. It's another game to get more minutes in the legs, to get the players sharp and really kick on for the last 3 Premier League games. And we want to win that Carabao game against Chelsea, of course, as well. We want to win that game, absolutely. The front three, we've gone with the front three that I really, really wanted. I really wanted this front three against Liverpool, and I was low-key disappointed when I saw that Grealish wasn't starting. I thought Pep really missed a trick not playing Grealish against Liverpool. And that's not me being my usual biased self. I'm being genuinely serious. When we've seen Grealish play well this season, which is most of the time so far this season, what he has offered us is exactly what we needed against Liverpool. It's exactly what we needed up against James Milner. I think even if Pep had selected his starting 11 before Klopp, when Pep saw and finally got the confirmed starting 11 for Liverpool, he should have said, nah, fuck it, throw Grealish on. Grealish would have been absolutely perfect to run aggressively at Milner. And whether he beats him every single time or not doesn't matter a toss. Because what Grealish is going to do is pick up and win fouls. I believe there was a red card sitting there waiting on top of James Milner to be picked up if Jack Grealish was on the pitch. And that would have been a game changer for us. So him, I think you're right, Joe, in this starting 11. I'd like to think he'll play tomorrow. I don't want to see Mahrez. I don't want to see Cole Palmer either, with all due respect. If we go 3-0 up, bring on Cole Palmer, give him 20 minutes, happy days. I don't want to see him. I think we need this front three. These are the 3 lads we need the most. I don't want to see right wing Bernardo. I don't want to see a right wing De Bruyne. I don't want to see anything crazy. Go back to what's worked the best for us this season. I don't know. What are either of your thoughts on that midfield? Obviously, the Bernardo thing I spoke about. Grealish, Pep, I'm sorry, you missed a trick there.
I think I do definitely agree with you in that sense. I think if you want to get the gel in before the World Cup, you play your best team every single game. Make sure they're in it. Make sure they're used to playing with each other. You'll get the results, but there will be messing around. Like, let's be fair, we probably haven't got this right. Like, we were so confident we had this right for Liverpool. I think we pretty much predicted this exact team. If not, then it was the exact team. But
because it was a big game. The big game never goes to plan.
Murray voices a thing there about Jack Grealish. I am not as much of a Jack Grealish enjoyer as he is, because nobody is. But I can't I can't help but turn around and say Pep did really miss a trick. Pep, that we said it in the review. If there was a man actually running at Milner constantly, he was minimum getting booked. We said that. Murray actually texted me beforehand when he heard news that Milner was playing. He goes, "Put every bit of money you have on a James Milner yellow card," and he didn't have it because he didn't have anyone run that. That's a huge factor that we miss at Grealish, and we can't afford to keep missing with these games in the run.
Akash says Grealish would have got Milner booked in the first minute like Delo. That's just the little trick, and it's these little things, these little advantage points, these little percentages. They matter so much in these crunch games. Like, it's just annoying. It is just annoying. I think Pep really should have been like, he should have. If Grealish wasn't already in the starting 11, which he wasn't, and we saw Liverpool starting 11, like I said, Pep should have said, you know what, fuck all that. Whoever was meant to start, you're not starting. Gundogan or whoever it was, you're not starting. Grealish, you are now on the left wing, and what you do every time you get the ball is run at that old man. Run at that old man like you've never ran before. Take him on, put your hair in his eyes, do whatever the fuck you have to do. Frustrate the fuck out of them. Because if they start, if let's see, just to put into more context and perspective for you people, let me paint a picture here, right? Joe Gomez, man of the match against us, deservedly. The guy was absolutely phenomenal. Joe Gomez was brilliant against us. Van Dijk looked a lot better than he has done for a long time against us. Why? Because their whole back four was so solid. In fairness to Liverpool, I'll give them the credit. Their whole back four was absolutely solid. Everything we threw at them, which wasn't a lot of times, but when we did really punish them, we didn't capitalize on that punishment. They handled it perfectly. Can you imagine if Jack Grealish is being aggressively running at Milner all game, and Milner's already on a yellow? Joe Gomez and Van Dijk and Robertson, they're starting to get a bit shaky. They're starting to get a little bit nervous because there's a little bit of a hole there, a little bit of a problem that Jack Grealish is creating. I just think that Grealish was absolutely perfect and designed for that game. And we've seen with Grealish him inverting towards the centre of the pitch, picking up the ball deep, making long runs. He could have frustrated their midfield. He could have ran at Joe Gomez. He could have ran at Van Dijk and just put pressure on them in a way we didn't. I thought in transition we were poor against Liverpool, and he would have been a great link man for that. I thought Bernardo his head was up his arse at times. He was trying to force it too much. De Bruyne as well wasn't great. The link wasn't there for us between defence and attack. I thought for the most part our defence did quite well, but once we regained possession, the link from defence to attack just wasn't there and wasn't good enough. Grealish could have done that. He's a dropping deep winger / midfielder that could have done that. So I really hope Pep shows the faith in Grealish and says, maybe even says to Grealish, I made a mistake, I should have played against Liverpool, but you're playing against Brighton tomorrow. Now is your time to get back at it again. I think tomorrow will be another great game for Grealish. I think Grealish is doing great this season overall. Do you think there's a chance Mahrez will start tomorrow? Yes, I do, and I don't want him to. He's done good against Brighton before for us. I love Riyad Mahrez, people. I love him genuinely, but it's not the time to play him. It's not the time to play him. When you want your 3 points, especially if you're going to put Grealish on the left, I don't want Mahrez on the right. The front three we've gone with is the perfect one. Mar Ryan says Grealish will destroy them. I think so. We may as well touch a little bit on Haaland too, because obviously this is the longest run he's gone on since joining the club without scoring a goal. Granted, he didn't play against Copenhagen, and he didn't score against Liverpool. Who did we play against before Copenhagen?
Southampton. And he got one. He almost didn't get one.
He played shit, but he got one. For Haaland, you best believe he'll be really fucking hungry to score against Brighton tomorrow. I'm not denying for 1 second that he was really hungry to score against Liverpool as well, but it didn't go his way. He didn't look sharp. The chances he did get, the spaces he did get himself into, he didn't look sharp. Am I being silly criticising Haaland? Maybe, because he's the man right now. But call a spade a spade. What you see is what you see. He could have done better in some of his situations against Liverpool. So I'm expecting from a player of his cold mentality, of his mind frame on a weekly basis, what we see and what we know of him as a person and his interviews and stuff, I'm expecting him to be really, really fucking hungry to score tomorrow, and we can't just rely on that as enough to be like, yeah, we're going to win this game. We need the likes of De Bruyne and Bernard to switch it back on. The players who weren't great in our important areas of the pitch against Liverpool, we need them to turn it back on, to give him the service. I thought against Liverpool, lads, as well, I don't know what you think, that we were forcing it to Haaland a bit too much. We weren't being creative enough and showing we have the ability to punish from other areas of the pitch. I mean, I don't think we used Foden enough, and then when we did, he actually scored a goal, ruled out obviously. I think we were just too focused on giving the ball to Haaland, give service to Haaland, cross in for Haaland, get it to Haaland's feet, and that showed a little bit. I think we could have been a little bit more diverse in our play.
I mean, like, you say lack of service or lack of great service. Our main creator was stuck on the right wing. I mean, it didn't take a genius to figure out why there was a lack of fantastic service a couple of times. I'm not saying that the other players around them, like Bernardo Silva and Gundogan and Foden, I'm about to say Grealish didn't play, that Foden, they can't create anything. But our main creator was stuck out on the right wing and didn't get much of the ball himself. So, yeah, I mean, we tried to force it, but we weren't really forcing it to him too well. It was a thing that I picked up on after the game, because I did go and watch it back because I wanted to know where it went so wrong. Like, I didn't want to. Obviously, the big highlights were the team selection and the mistake from Cancelo, but I mean, there were times in the game where we'd have it on the I think it was about half an hour in the first half. De Bruyne genuinely throws his arms up in frustration because there's a switch ball on from the left to the right hand side, and he's all on his own. No one's marking him, and the ball just doesn't come to him. He gives it 5-10 seconds. I think he's got a couple of looks from, I think it was Ake who was playing left back and Diaz was the left centre half, and he gets a couple of looks and he's in space and he just throws his arms in frustration because he just doesn't get the ball, and he kind of just walks off and looks at Pep and it's like, here, what am I supposed to do? Like, why have you put me here? I'm not getting the ball over here. It just all went really wrong, to be honest, and I think it's time for him to just go back to what works. This is I mean, we saw it against Man United. Big games with Pep are always a mystery because he does have the tendency to do what he did against Liverpool and try shoehorn someone in or fiddle about with things needlessly. But I mean, we saw it against Man United in the derby. He just went with this team. He dropped Diaz, which is maybe the one sort of like, ooh, what's he doing here? But it wasn't like he dropped Diaz for like a fullback or a holding midfielder did something stupid. He dropped Diaz for another centre half. He dropped Diaz for Akanji and Ake. Like, he dropped Diaz for a straight swap so that he didn't mess about and move someone out of position. So, I don't know. I don't think he'll ever learn. This is not the last time we've seen Pep's tinkering because it will never, ever go away. It's something that you have to just accept that he does. Like, this is probably the only negative thing. And it's not like it never works. Like, it has worked before. But, I mean, come on, mate. Just, please, for the love of God, for the love of my sanity, whenever we play Liverpool, just play the team that we all want. And if Pep was to put out the team that we all wanted to see at Anfield and we still would have lost, fine, I accept it. He put out a team that we all wanted to see and that we all knew was probably the right team, and we lose, so be it. He put out a team that no one expected and we lost, and people are scratching their heads. So I just hope that I hope this is one of the last times this season, at least anyway, where we see him tinker, because I don't want to see it again in a big game. I hope he's got it out of his system, and then when we move on to the later parts of the season where we're, it's crunch time, that he doesn't do it because he's already done it previously. But I know that's not going to happen. I'm not stupid.
This was low-key or high-key, whatever way you want to look at it. The Liverpool game was Pep overthinking and trying to do something that Klopp wasn't expecting, when the reality is, you're right, the team that we all wanted and the team that we expected, I know hindsight's a beautiful thing, but I believe could have done better than the team that did take to the field did. And obviously you can talk about the substitutions as well, leaving it to the 87th minute to bring on Julian Alvarez. I don't see what he was trying to do there. I think if you're going to bring on Alvarez in that game at all, you bring him on the 65th minute, because he'll expand the game. He'll give us a different outlet. He'll, get the ball to his feet. He's more likely to do something with it than Haaland. Haaland is more of a first-time player. He's more of a, I'll hit it first time, maybe take one touch to get it out of his feet and then bang it. Whereas Alvarez will take it, he'll dribble, he'll cause problems for centre-halves. I don't understand Pep's thought process with 3-4 minutes to go, bring on Alvarez. A bit unfair on Alvarez too. I mean, what do you say to the kid? Go on and change the game. Go on and get a goal for us in a situation like that, where at this point Liverpool are in not survival mode, but park the bus mode. We're just not letting you in, and they were comfortable doing that all game. Akash says, I made a 20 quid bet with my cousin just after the Community Shield game that Haaland would get a minimum of 35 goals in all comps. What do you think he'll get this season? What's he on? He's on 20 goals now in all comps. Yeah.
Okay, now.
You'll get your money, man. You'll get your money.
That bet's
You'll
coming
get
in.
Akash. You're going to be 20 quid richer, my friend. Chris says Kev was playing right wing. Ryan Mart reckons 57 goals. Is this Foden's best start to a season, says Amari. I think in terms of goal and assist output, yeah, it is. It absolutely is. I think we're seeing a new level of Phil Foden. I think having Haaland beside him is helping him out. Alisson denied him about 4 or 5 times. Alisson is worth, every single season, I think him alone is worth 15 points on the table to Liverpool. He's the best keeper in the world, in my opinion, and I have no problem saying that. In terms of shot stopping, the guy is absolutely outrageous. His distribution, 90% of the time, is very good. Sometimes he has a calamity. Alisson he's worth so many points. If you throw Alisson into our team, I love Ederson, but throw him into our team, we get so many clean sheets. He would save so many of those disasters we've had. I think we would have beaten Real Madrid in that semi-final tie with Alisson. But this is all, ifs, buts, and maybes. This is all just complete hypothetical conversation. What I still don't get is why did he bring on Alvarez? Yeah, that's basically what I was saying. Easy money, Akash. Listen, it was just going to be a quick, a chill one tonight. There's not so much you can say about tomorrow's game against Brighton. They're in 8th place in the table. They're there for a reason. They're a good team. They've beaten good teams. They're playing well. They play good football. I don't know much about the new manager. Joe says he likes him. We can expect a fight at least from Brighton tomorrow. So if we're in any way complacent, if we're in any way rusty, like I said at the start of the show, it could become a slogfest. So we need a big performance from City tomorrow. We need a big reaction. We need to show that the week off hasn't affected us, which is weird to say has a week off affected us. We need to go in full-blooded, all guns blazing. Everyone needs to be sharp. Get back on the horse, people. Get back on the winning horse, and not get ourselves back in this title charge, because we absolutely are still in it. But don't give Arsenal any more ground. My expectation is that Arsenal will win in Southampton. I said 3-0 in the Big Six. Maybe I was a bit generous to Arsenal in that, but I still think they'll get the 3 points down there regardless. So we can't afford to give Arsenal any more slip-ups, or slip up ourselves, give them any more ground on us. But listen, we're going to do score predictions. There's still about 35 people in the building. Make sure you've hit the like button and subscribe to the channel if you're new. If you're watching this on playback, it would also help us massively if you hit the like button, just so other people can find it and we can get new subscribers and the channel can keep growing and we can march on to our pursuit of 5,000 subscribers. And just on the Jordan thing, once again, for those of you who missed it, something came up for him. He was busy. That's perfectly fine. He's a busy guy. He's got a lot going on, but we will do more work with the City Extra lads in future. I promise you that, people. So I'm sorry if you were looking forward to seeing Jordan tonight, or you're expecting to see him. Life happens, people. Life gets in the way. We've all got busy schedules. You will see him again. Anyways, we may as well start with you, Revel. What's your score prediction? City versus Brighton tomorrow. Will we see a battering? Will we see a slogfest? Will we see a Haaland goal? Will we see a Jack Grealish goal? Because I think we just might.
You'll see a 4-0, yeah, but the first goal will come like the 40th minute after we've been pressing them for fucking ages, and they'll just fall apart. And I'll tell you who you can expect a goal from. Manuel Blood Kanji.
Oh, for fuck's sake.
He's scoring. I'm afraid it's written in the stars. He's scoring tomorrow. It'll be off a corner. Bish, bash, bosh, real good Nash.
Scoring from a corner? In what land are you living in?
Yep.
If a Kanji scores tomorrow, I am going to go on the Big Six next week. I'm not on the Big Six on Monday because I'm flying out to Germany, people. So if you're looking forward to seeing me there, I won't be there. I don't know who's covering me because Big Steve's going to Germany as well. Lewis from City Extra is going to Germany as well. I assume it'll be that. But if a Kanji scores... What?
This is where I step in.
Yeah, you might see Rebel in the next. If a Kanji scores against Brighton, I will go on next Thursday's show with the biggest smoke ever. My chest out because Akanji's my guy, and I've gassed him up, and I'm too deep in now to sell my Akanji stocks. I need to fucking keep backing him up. See you there, bro, says Marwan Belly. Oh, you're going to Dortmund away as well, Marwan? I'm really looking forward to that one. Should be a great trip, man. I think is it my first European away trip?
It is your first European away.
I think it's my first European away game, so I'm really looking forward to having a proper piss up with the City fans in Germany, experiencing the Dortmund Stadium, the yellow wall, and all that. A1 says Boovy maybe. I don't think Boovy's ever been involved with Turkish or the Big Six. I don't really know. Maybe. I'd say it'll be Daps. Daps usually does a good job whenever he's been on there as well. So if it's Daps, show him love. People support him on Monday show. I don't know who it is. Genuinely, I don't know. It'll be someone anyway. The representative. Anyway, Joe, your score prediction and who's going to score?
Oh, 3-0. I did see a stat which is going to involve my goal scorer. It was Bernardo Silva to score. I think the stat was he scored 3 times against Brighton, which is the most. I think 3 times at home, maybe. I don't know. He scored 3 times against Brighton, which is the most out of any player, tied with Sergio Aguero. So 3-0 Bernardo Silva goal. That's my prediction.
Bernardo goal from Joe. I'm gonna go with a slightly more reserved, conservative 2-0 Manchester City. In brackets, Erling Haaland, and if Jack Grealish starts, I'm going to go less optimistic with Grealish than I usually do, because I agree with the point Joe made a while ago on a stream in the last few weeks, was that bringing Grealish off the bench, you may as well not bring him on at all. I don't think Grealish suits being a substitute. If Grealish starts, which I really, really fucking hope he does, I'm gonna back Jack Grealish to score. He's gonna have a point to prove. He's gonna want to say to Pep, he should have played me against Liverpool, and this is why. Bang, Jack Grealish goal, and a 2-0 for me. So a 2-0 for me, 3-0 from Joe, and a 4-0 from Darla. Let's complete the set, and maybe City can go get a 5-0. Who knows? Listen, people. Still 32 of you here. Keep hitting the like button. Keep subscribing to the channel. We'll be back tomorrow night at 10:30. I know we usually do our review streams the day after, but maybe we'll do one. I'm working until 10 tomorrow night anyway, but I'll still see the game. I'm not doing anything after, so we might go live tomorrow at 10:30, do a review if you guys want that. If not, we'll be back on Sunday, so keep an eye out. Hit the notification bell so you don't miss it when we do go live. And hopefully City can get back on the winning horse, pick up the 3 points. Hopefully Jackie G can score a goal, and we'll see you in celebration mode once again. Come on, City. Wrap her up, Joe.
Listen to your heart, tell me who you wanna be. We can always start to believe. Listen to your heart, tell me that you understand, 'cause you are the